Hey everyone, in this video, I would like to share 5 tips on how you can stay afloat if you lost your job due to the coronavirus lockdown. So let's get right down to it. Tip number 1, file for unemployment. You probably have already done this, but if you haven't, don't be discouraged by the long wait times. You'll eventually get through it. If you live in Washington, D.C., the maximum weekly amount that you can potentially get is around $425 a week for about 6 months. And due to the CARES Act that they passed back in March, you will be receiving an additional $600 per week until July 31st. So $400 plus $600, you can potentially get around $1,000 a week in unemployment benefit. So that'll depend on your income. It could be slightly lower than that. Now, when you're filling up the unemployment form, you're gonna see an option there where it's gonna ask you, do you want to withhold taxes? You wanna say yes, because otherwise, if you don't, you're gonna have a tax bill in April. Tip number 2, you wanna sit down and figure out how you can cut your expenses. So start with the big ticket items like a mortgage or student loan. So if you have a mortgage, you can call up your mortgage lender and ask for a deferment. So now some mortgage lenders, they might offer you a forbearance where you can stop paying for 3 months, but then the balance of those 3 months that you miss is going to be due at the end. So you do not want to do that. It's not very helpful at all. So you want to make sure that they can offer you a deferment plan where, for example, if you have 25 years left to pay in your mortgage, then basically it'll just take you 26 years. It'll just add like a year on your mortgage payment. If you are renting, maybe you want to call up your landlord and try to negotiate. So for example, one of my sisters, I have 5 sisters, so one of them is renting out our old home, and she has a tenant. She likes the tenant. They pay on time. They take good care of the property. And the tenant was like, hey, I need some help. Business is down, so maybe you can negotiate some kind of deal. And I think my sister agreed for them to freeze payments over a couple of months, because my sister, as a landlord, is thinking it's going to be hard to find a new tenant, and maybe if I can help them out, they'll eventually get back on their feet. Or you can always stay at your parents' home, or if you have a really kind friend who can offer you to stay at a basement apartment. Student loans, that's another big ticket item for some of us. If you have a federal student loan, because again, due to the CARES Act, they will have stopped collecting your student loan payments, and it's going to last until the end of September. If you want to make sure, you can call up your student loan provider to make sure they're doing that. If you have a private student loan, meaning it's not with the federal government, then you can call them up and see if they can again defer your student loan payments until you are back on your feet. I know some of our clients are in that situation. And for one of them, his student loan payment, we refinanced it to Earnest, and that company agreed for a deferral plan. Now, keep in mind though that the balance will increase over time if you stop paying, because the interest they added back up to the balance. So if you don't want that to happen, if you have some excess cash, you can at least pay the interest each month. So tip number 3, cut expenses further. So we talked about the big ticket items. Now, what you can do is look more closely and examine your bank statement or credit card statement and see if there are other expenses in there that you can cut or that you don't really need. So for example, if you've been subscribing to Spotify Premium for $10 a month, maybe you don't need that and you can just cancel that for the time being. If you like reading books, what you can do is borrow books from the library. I know libraries are closed. I love borrowing books from the library. But since they're closed, what I did was downloaded an app called Hoopla. And there I can borrow books using that digital app. Tip number 4, worst case scenario, if you still find yourself in a bind after all of these, you don't really want to rack up your credit card debt. So instead, you can consider other options. So if you have been contributing to a Roth IRA in the past, you can take out your contributions from a Roth IRA without taxes or penalty. You just cannot take out the earnings that you've made. If you have a mortgage, you can apply for a home equity line of credit or a HELOC. The interest rate for a HELOC is going to be much lower than, again, your credit card. And if you have a spouse and he or she still has a job, then worst case scenario, again, he or she can apply for a 401k loan. And again, the interest rate there is going to be lower. Now, hopefully you won't come to this, but these options are going to be much better than using your credit card. Now, lastly, tip number 5, I know losing your job sucks. Maybe you can use this as an opportunity to really think about what you want to do with your career. One of my friends recently lost her job and she's thinking like, I've always wanted to pivot and work for the tech sector, and she's figuring out how she can do that. There are a ton of online courses that you can avail of. One of the more popular ones is edx.org. You can access free online courses by famous universities like Harvard, MIT. You can learn about artificial intelligence or sign language and many others for free. Or maybe you've just been really exhausted from your previous job and you have enough savings, and maybe you can just call this as a sabbatical where you can just relax and enjoy life and really reflect on what's important to you. So that's it, my friends. I hope this was helpful. Hang in there. We'll get through this. Until next time.